Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, you're not in your basement. We both.
It was getting a little dusty. I was jealous of your natural light, so I moved up to the main level, got some natural light.
Nice, awesome. Well, new year, new offices, new office mate. Say hi to Chewy, everyone.
Nice.
Well, this week we had one of our biggest stories was the Farmers to Families Food Box program announced the winners for the contracts. The one thing that, of course, as a Texan, I have to look at, the California company got awarded Texas. What is up with that? But let's see, you've done some digging in to see what's going on with the award amounts, and the per box amount is a bit of a difference from before.
It seems like every round the per box costs are going down. One of the changes this round 5 that goes through the end of April is they all must be combo boxes. And I did some computing of the numbers, and almost every box award contract is in the low $30 per box range. And that's considerably lower than it had been earlier in the program. Now, last round, I did some of those numbers too, and it was still in the 30s, but this one seems even lower. The only outliers are in some of those, the Alaska and Hawaii's. Otherwise, that's what it is. And it's hard to get USDA to comment, and they haven't gotten back to me yet on this round. And last time it took weeks for them to comment anything. They don't really feel the need to explain what their reasoning is. But we can go by the results, and clearly the results are that it's more price oriented, and maybe a third to a half of the companies who got it this round have had previous rounds in rounds 3 and 4. And so there is a decent amount of repeat. And I would think that that would be something they would be going for, a known commodity, someone who you can trust that will be able to pack it and fill the program.
One of the concerns I have, especially as they keep chipping away at the amount per box, is what's going in the boxes. As you know, I follow a lot of frugal cooking groups on Facebook, and I actually happened to see someone the other day post about she was dehydrating and doing something with onions because her Farmers to Families box had 3 bags of onions in it. And then she got one box for like 2 or, she had a bunch of boxes, and it looked like she had about 30 pounds of onions that she was dealing with.
That's not how it's designed. And all the ones I talked to last round, which was a handful, they did say as the box prices go down, they lean more on the staple items, the bags of potatoes, onions, apples, oranges. But at the same time, those are some of the items that are in excess, and that this, as we know, this program helps farmers, and they're able to get that off the market. Because just because you take potatoes and onions, just because they're up in retail doesn't mean that it makes up for the difference that they've lost in food service.
No, not at all.
But they should not be putting 10 pounds of onions in a box, because that's not what it's designed for, and that's not how families eat. As the costs go down, you might get some lower quality meat and dairy. There's no question about that, but those aren't our industries.
Yeah, I did notice too in one of the crop reports that I was looking at, I can't remember which organization. I love that so many organizations are doing awesome videos for their crop reports and keeping their members and their customers updated. And one of them did mention that the apple market should be affected pretty significantly by the box program going through the spring. One of the areas, though, that I really don't think that people are going to be seeing too many bags of oranges in their Farmers to Families food box, despite the fact that it is peak California and Texas season. I went to the store the other day because I'm out of COVID jail. Of course, everyone's negative, we're good. And I picked up the giant bag of oranges at Walmart, and it was $9.32. Oranges were $1.37 a pound for navel oranges. It was cheaper to buy mandarins than it was to buy a standard navel orange at Walmart. I could not believe it. So oranges are in extremely high demand right now.
Well, that's the way markets are supposed to go, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the market at work. It makes sense, and I'm glad that we've got 28% year over year sales of oranges in 2020 from March to the end of December, and who knows what we're going to see through January. But this is really a boom to citrus marketers, and I'm sure they're keeping a careful eye to make sure that they match that demand with volume in a reasonable way.
I agree. And then we have a story out of New York this week. We found out that Hunts Point workers are on strike, and we even had an appearance from their U.S. representative, a certain one that goes by in initials A, O, and C. So what's the update on this story, Pamela?
Right now, I haven't gotten to a chance to talk to anyone at Hunts Point Market. I believe the Teamsters Union, Local 202, is the one that is striking, and they are requesting or demanding a $1 an hour pay increase. And so far, what they've been offered is 32 cents an hour. And so AOC spent her inauguration eve. There were no balls going on. So she was out there posting to TikTok and to social media, advocating on behalf of the striking workers. So that was interesting to watch. We've got a lot of other things that just the new administration is hitting the ground running with some things, and things that affect the produce industry. One of them that I noticed, and it kind of, I see all of these things that my last few trips, right before the world shut down, all seem to be affected right now, and bringing things up. The first thing that I saw that President Biden did was sign an executive order stopping the border wall. And last year in January, I was with Max Schuster of Valverde Vegetable, standing on the levee that is his family's property, where the border wall was going to be built. And that is all wall now, and torn up levee and concrete and steel. And right now work is stopped. And so there's some questions of how that will be remediated, and no answers yet so far.
Well, we're only in a couple days.
we're in like 18 hours, 36 hours we've been under the Biden administration. I mean, there were some other question marks. I know I saw a lot of comments that were sent over to us from industry groups like United and PMA about immigration reform and a lot of priorities. It sounds like everyone's got a list that they are trying to get a foot in the door to make sure that they're heard in the new administration.
Yeah, well, the place I was about a year ago was in Southern California for a National Grocers show, and it was so awesome to be outside in San Diego. And I was just on a restaurant review webinar from United Fresh, and they talked about what the challenges are for the food service industry. And a huge challenge in certain states like California and New York is restaurants are still shut down for the most part. And California is a place where you could eat outdoors, and that's not an option. Basically, most of the experts on the call are not optimistic for the next couple of months, but then they start to get very optimistic for summer and hopeful that places will open back up, and so many more places have outdoor dining and did it successfully in 2020, and they feel like that can really allow an expansion of that market to get us closer to where we were before all that.
Yeah, these are all things for us to look forward to as we move into, I mean, for me, it seems like winter is over and things are going to warm up pretty soon here, but it's just starting for a lot of you folks up in the north. But we'll be dining outside all spring, and I'll be thinking of you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the country, so half of the country is further north of me, so I know it's not anywhere near dining out weather yet.
I know it's got to be frustrating for a lot of the food service operators who had hoped when all of this started for it to be a temporary situation, and it's dragging on a lot longer than a lot of us expected. But I do really believe that there is some light at the end of this tunnel, hopefully this summer and going into the fall. All right, well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.
And go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Yeah, go Chiefs. I can cheer for the Chiefs. I'm a Kansas City native.
Sure.
I was born in Kansas City.
I wasn't.
I was born in Kansas City, Kansas. By about, what was it, Mom? Like half a mile? A block? The hospital was on the border. Yeah, yeah, hopefully we can see a lot of this, especially with the dining outside and people. Come say hi and then take off.